There was a fable from long ago where the sun and the wind had a contest, and they had this little contest going between themselves about this man they saw on the street who had a jacket on. He's walking the jacket right here in the streets of Chicago, the Windy City. The sun said, I bet I could get that man to take his jacket off before you could. And the wind said, no way, I could get that man to take his jacket off a lot easier than you can. He said, okay, well, you go first, the sun told the wind. And so the wind used the tools that he had at his disposal, and he blew. He got 90-mile-an-hour winds going, but the harder the wind blew, the more the man on the street clutched his jacket. He zippered his jacket up, and he huddled himself closer and tighter, and he would not release the jacket. Even though the winds were over 120 miles an hour, the man got just blown onto his backside and still held on to his jacket. Then the wind stopped blowing and said, okay, you're so smart, Mr. Sun, you try it. And the sun just started bursting its radiant energy. Soon there were clouds that were in the way. The clouds start evaporating and turning into humidity and getting very humid inside this environment, as well as the blazing heat the sun could provide. And it got up to 110 degrees with a 95% relative humidity. And what do you think the guy did with his jacket? Took it off. So the sun won the contest, I guess, in that case. I guess that's what it comes down to, is that are you going to sell your services by blowing hot air or blowing the wind at people? Or are you going to use radiant energy and some kind of energy that's unseen, right? The sun's power is probably the most powerful thing we have in this universe. Yet it's something we really can't see. The radiant energy that it provides is just rays that we can't really see. And the same way when we sell people our services, we're providing energy too that can't be seen. There's reasons why people buy from somebody like Rick or Justin or people who sell a lot of things. The reasons aren't always apparent. They're not always easy to see. As a matter of fact, when I go out there and do ride-alongs with companies, my average week, I can't say every single week, but on average, I do about $42,000 a week on average. Doing about 12 calls a week, I'll do about $42,000 in service calls a week. A lot of it does turn to equipment and that type of thing, but nonetheless, that's my average. Sometimes my biggest sale was $170,000 in one job. My probably smallest one was a couple $100. I've had some weeks where I did $15,000, $20,000. I have some weeks where I did almost $200,000 in a week. So on average, about 42 grand a week. Well, here's what I found. I found that my sales ability has never gotten through force. It's never gotten through more talking or more wind. It's always gotten through more radiance. Radiance is done by connecting with people, by getting people to like you and trust you. We talked before about the highest form of persuasion is commitment, right? Respect, honor, and trust. How do you gain respect, honor, and trust? It's really your ability to connect with people and to be able to see people for who they are and to be able to find people, the code of a person, so you can provide solutions that are on code too. Emotional solutions that are on code are the most powerful radiant form you have. But you have to find the code. How do you find the code of people? To find the code of your customer, it's simply gotten through the connection or the connectivity between you and them. And the law of connectivity simply states that the more people like and trust you, the more likely they are to make a purchase from you. Does that make sense? We can all agree with that. So I have a sheet in front of you called the Guest or Pest Worksheet. There is a perception difference that's out there in the universe. Harvard University did a study of sales interactions in the United States. Now they asked the salespeople of over 3,000 sales interactions, asked them a simple question. Are you a guest or are you a pest? What do you think the salesperson said? What percentage of salespeople said they were a guest, for instance? What would you say? Any ideas? 94% of the salespeople or service people said, yes, Joe, people love me. They told the Harvard University person who's interviewing them, oh yeah, 94% said that people just love me. You don't get it, I'm a people person. They just love me. Now, of the same 3,000 transactions, they asked the customers the exact same question. Was this salesperson or this technician a guest or a pest? Guess what percentage said he was a guest? 13%. So 13% of the customers think the person in their home starts out, leaves as a guest. Understand, what did Clotaire Rapaille said? He said that 100% think you're a guest to start with. So clearly, 87% of people in the home turn into a pest one way or another by the time they leave. What is it that causes this? What do you think it is? Well, we're going to go over guest or pest worksheet and identify what turns people into a guest and what turns them into a pest, conversely. Let's talk about the use of people's names. For instance, if you have a guest that you're inviting over to your home, would you address that person by the first name or last name? What would you say? Somebody you know, right? The sweetest sound of somebody is the sound of their own voice, and the sound of their own name is really the key thing. Stanford University did a study that found that people prefer the first name overwhelmingly. 96% of people prefer the first name over the last name. It's just, nobody ever objects, no matter what age you are, of using the first name every single time. Don't go into using last name. Don't use Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Johnson. It's always Judy, John, George. Act like you've known them for life, as if you've known them forever. The best way. All they can do is say, I'm sorry, Mauro, could you please call me by my last name? Now, when's the last time you heard somebody use that request to you? Anybody ever hear, use my last name? Because yeah, maybe your teacher in high school? Yeah. Call me Mr. Johnson. Okay, Mr. Johnson. You call me Mr. Crisera then. We're on a last name basis. From now on, that's it. I'm watching you. That's what I always say to people. I'm always waiting for people to say, use my last name. Nobody's ever said it to me, but I'm waiting for the first person who does, because I'm going to just say to them, you know what? You call me by my last name too. And now that we're on a last name basis, what happened? What went wrong? What happened? Why did we start it that way? So understand that the first name is the best way to start. Don't go in the house using last names. Enough said. So guest uses first names. Pest, Eddie Haskell. Remember Eddie Haskell? Hello, Mrs. Cleaver. Nice day, Mrs. Cleaver. What a pest. Get out of my house, Eddie. Don't do Eddie Haskell. How about when you're going to somebody's home and you're a guest in the home, should a guest be focused on himself and what they do and what they've been up to? Naturally, you'd be what? Interested in who? The homeowner, the host, right? You've been invited into their home. Who should you ask questions about? Should you be asking questions about them? Or should you be talking about yourself? So what does that sound like when you talk about yourself? Self-centered person. It's like we talk about how busy we are. We talk about how my family is going through some kind of situation, about how I had a hard time getting to work today, about how mad the boss is about some kind of situation back at the office, right? Talk about ourselves is no way to start. Always start by talking about the homeowner and what they're all about. Who's the star of the show? You or the customer? You're like Jay Leno. You're like Ed McMahon. You're like the sidekick, the person asking the questions. The people we bring on the show are the guests. They're the star of the show. We want to interview those people and make them the star. If you do all the talking on this call, and you got the white stuff on the outside of your mouth from solidified spit, that means that you are talking about yourself too much. When your back is sweating from after you get done talking so much, it's all about you, baby. You lost track of what's going on with this call. This call is about your customer. On your part, there should be very little effort. It looks like the ninja, or what's that dog? The cartoon dog who used to do karate chops when he was remember Droopy Dog? Remember that cartoon dog? Hong Kong Phooey. He wouldn't hardly make any motion. He just like boom, boom, boom. He just knocked the snot out of people. He wouldn't even move though, right? He had like no effort. It's like Mr. Miyagi on Karate Kid. Remember him? That's it. He didn't make no motion at all. Well, I tell you, when I go out and sell $42,000 in a week, and then the boss says, "So Quentin, what did he do? Tell me all the good moves that he did." You know what he's going to say? He didn't do a damn thing. Joe didn't do. He didn't do nothing. Customer just bought. He didn't do anything. Nothing. I swear to God, he didn't say a word in this entire call. I did everything. He did say a few things, but they weren't very substantial. That's that radiance again we're talking about. What can you do to create that radiant energy that can't be seen? Even the guy with you who's looking for it can't see what you're doing. What is it though? It's creating the bond and creating a relationship. That's what I'm doing. Odds are he'd say, he didn't do anything actually, Tom. He just spent all him and the customer just jibber jabber and they're laughing their sides off. I'm doing all the work out there. They're out there having a great time. That's what it feels like on my calls. I just have a great time with people. My side is usually hurting from laughing so much. That's how you know you're having a good call, is when your side hurts. When your kidney starts hurting from laughing too much. You should have done more sit-ups because your stomach is hurting from your diaphragm's from laughing so much. You're telling you having a good call there, guys. Isn't that great? That's prime time right there. It's like you're on center stage and you made a star of the customer. He made you laugh. He's like the comedian. He's like the show. You're having a great time with this person. That's how you know you're done great. A pest talks a lot. A guest listens a lot. Can we agree with that? So listens, a pest talks, a guest listens. How about problems? A pest brings problems, a guest brings solutions. How many times have you guys talked to a customer about a problem they're having, but you did not bring a solution with it? If you told somebody you got a problem with your refrigerant system, or you told them you got a problem with your drainage system, or a problem with the electrical system, what's the very next question the customer is going to ask you after you bring them that problem? And if you don't have that solution right there, what do you look like right now? First class ass is what you look like right now. Sorry to use my abrupt language, but I usually go farther and deeper than this. But since we're videotaping this, I can only go so deep. You know that. So you look like a first class ass is what you look like. You bring problems to people, you don't bring solutions, you are the problem at that point. So whenever you bring a problem to somebody, in anything, not just heating and cooling and plumbing, electrical, always bring a solution. When you bring a solution, now you're a solution. You're a guest. You're back to the guest status again. So you're going to tell somebody about a problem? The condensate drain's leaking on top of the furnace? Better have what with you, baby? Solutions ready to go. And not just one, you better have 6. I got 6 ways to do it. Hey, John, look at this problem on top of the furnace here. Oh my God, I didn't even see that. Yeah, well, what can you do about that? Well, I do have 6 solutions for you. You ready? Boom. See how your competence and your confidence looks already better? I'm not having to dig for solutions. I've already got them. So don't bring people a problem until you got a solution. How inappropriate is it for you to always talk about the problem? Look at this unit sinking into the dirt. It's not level. What are we going to do about it? Well, let me go work up a price. Wrong answer. You screwed the pooch. Do you see how many times you lost jobs because of that now? Telling you right now, so what's going on, Morrow? Well, we're low on refrigerant. What are we going to do about it? Well, let me get some prices for you in a few seconds. Lost it. That job's lost right now. You get lucky if you sold that one. If you did pull one out, you got just one of those lucky things that happened. But you didn't deserve that job because you told people the problem without a solution. If there's one aha moment I want you to get from this part of this thing, you bring people a problem, you also bring them the solution, you will be a hero. You'll make yourself a hero at that point. If you bring people a problem, you don't bring them a solution, you're not a hero at all. You're just a goat. And no matter how hard you try and recover, it's not going to be there because your confidence level and your confidence in finding the solution looks weak, like you had to dig for it. You shouldn't have to dig for anything. It should be right there, ready to go. All right. How about the pest has negative look and the guest smiles? Would you imagine that? If you come to the door of somebody, to have the first thing you could have is a smile, right? To look like you're confident. And what does confidence look like, guys? What does it mean? Smiling, chin up, like you're having a great day, right? But how many times you brought your problems on that call? Maybe you got dispatched the wrong kind of information. You just got the wrong address, and you've been going around in circles the last half hour. You get to this call, and you kind of got this ticked look on your face. You look like Donald Rumsfeld, for God's sake. You know what that looks like? Like you just sat in the pot and strained one. You know what I'm talking about? You get that Rumsfeld look. It's not good. Think how do I look when I go to that door, man? If I don't look like you're having a great day, and like this is John, how you doing? Hey, nice to see you again. How you doing today? Or I've never seen you before. John? Hi, my name is Morrow. Nice to meet you. Come on in. Like you're a true gentleman. Walk upright. Use the first name. That's how you enter the house, right? Now, pest also is a know-it-all, and a guest is a student of people, right? So, questions should be asked about your customer, about their life, about their family, not all at the same time, but you have to be a student of people to understand what we're trying to find out here, right? And here's the biggest one I find. I'm going to give you a free one here. A pest one-ups customers, and a guest honors the host. What does one-upping people mean? Give me an example of that. Like, if I told you that my wife died of cancer, how would you one-up me on that one? Oh, my wife and my dad died of cancer. And my dad's cancer is way worse than your wife's. You kidding? I'll tell you what, don't do what I used to do when I was younger. People would say, yeah, my wife passed away of cancer. And I'd say, oh, I know what you're talking about. My grandmother died of cancer too, and it was terrible. Matter of fact, my grandmother was 98 pounds, and she was down to nothing when she died. And I would just go on and on about my grandmother's death of cancer, making it sound way worse. That just invalidated whatever he was going through or she was going through, right? Don't we all do that sometimes, though? We all kind of think that we're connecting by doing that. We're actually repelling people by doing that. There is a good way around that, though. Let's say somebody says that they're going through something, a challenge in their life, okay? Any kind of challenge at all. What kind of challenges do people face out there in the real world? How about with the kids? What kind of things with the kids? Kids got ADD. Does that sound like a common one? Go ahead, pick up the mic, Dustin. Tell me your kid's got ADD.
Yeah, Joe, my kid, he's got ADD, so we have a hard time with him.
Oh, it's terrible, Dustin. And I'll tell you one thing. I do know one thing, Dustin. I mean, is it challenging, or is it how is it?
Yeah, it's pretty challenging to take care of him. But he's our kid. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dustin. What's your son's name?
John.
John? Well, I'll tell you, your son, John. I do know one thing about him. He's very fortunate to have a father like you who cares like you do. I mean, it's so hard to find parents who care about kids like you do.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
That's it right there. When somebody says they're struggling with something, I'm going to give you a free one. That's a free softball. You want to make an entire call happen right there? I was in Philadelphia on a call. I walked to the front door. I was with a guy named Ron, was with my cohort. Walked to the door, and the lady says, come on in. We have a problem with our boilers leaking up on the second floor. I come in, and the husband says, get him out of here. Get him out of here. I said, Eleanor, it's now a good time to be here. It seems like your husband, is that John, your husband? She goes, yeah, she goes, Joe, come upstairs. I'll tell you about it. So we go upstairs, and she says, yeah, Joe, John actually he's a brilliant guy. He was a professor at Princeton University, but now he's got Alzheimer's, and he is suffering from dementia. So I'm sorry about that. You know, it's been so tough. It's so difficult. I mean, I love him so much, but I'm not sure if I should put him in a home or what I should do. And I said, Eleanor, listen, I'm sorry for saying that. I didn't know that he was suffering from that. I said, I do know one thing, though, Eleanor. I said, I hope that someday, if I'm ever in John's condition, that my wife loves me as much as you love him, because you are going through a lot, and it's certainly great to see you take care of your husband John like that and honor him like that so much. It's an honor to you and an honor to him to do that. And she said, thank you, Joe. And she had a tear coming down her eye when she said thank you to me. Later on, I had a baseboard that was shot in the second floor bedroom. The pipe was going through a garage, and the pipe burst. We had a big blowout on the pipe. So I gave him several options. The top option, repipe the radiator up above the ground, put in new whole radiant baseboard for that room, put zoning downstairs, new thermostats up and down, 5-year planned service agreement to stay with this thing for the next 5 years to make sure that the major surgery is going to take. It's like $4,800 for the top option. The bottom option, just braze the leak shut, purge it, and go. $350. No warranty. I can't guarantee the same thing that just failed. It just broke because of this cold weather, so I guarantee it's going to do it again. Remember, I put down, I guarantee will happen again. $350 on the bottom. I showed her the 6 options. I said, so Eleanor, what should we do? And she says, Joe, you just pick one. When you hit that, I'll tell you, when you get to that point, where am I selling from? In a hierarchy of persuasion, where am I selling from? Respect, honor, and trust on that one? Or am I at the, she's like, I put myself in your hands, Joe. What was the moment that did it? Just that one moment where I said, John's so lucky to have you as a spouse that cares for him like that. When she had that one tear in her eye, I said, now she says, go ahead, Joe, you choose one. Is it possible for me to choose one like that if I have respect, honor, and trust? If I choose one, God forbid you choose one for her. What are you going to choose? The best one? Of course, jackass, you want to sell the best one. It's like you're the salesman. It's like I'm going to ask, the sheep is going to ask the wolf, what would you have for dinner tonight? I think sheep. No, you can't choose. You can't choose for the homeowner. I said to her, Eleanor, listen, it would be unethical for me to choose. I said, listen, I appreciate you asking me which one we should do, but let me explain it to you again. This top one has got a 5-year warranty and 5 years of service. I come out every year and we stand by you every year, so you're not by yourself anymore. We come out every year and we take care of this. We take care of it for you every year. I stand by you every year for 5 years. See what I did? I'm on code. The bottom option, you're on your own, I told her. This one, we just braze it shut. They're both going to work, but this one here, you're on your own. This one here, we stand by you. What should we do? What do you think she did? $4,800, baby. And I said, well, time out, because I always do when I get a senior citizen. I give it back. I do it for everybody, too, not just senior citizens. I said, Eleanor, wait a second. Are you sure that you want the top one? I mean, because I do have other less expensive options. She didn't even look at those. She goes, no, Joe, if that's the one that's the best, I want the best one from you. I said, okay, let me ask you a question, Eleanor. Are there any kind of kids or family or anybody like that who I need to ask about this before I continue? Because I don't want to call from your daughter about how I sold you too much today. She goes, no. My daughter, she's not even living in this area, and I don't want her sticking her nose in this thing. I said, okay, good. So what happens if she does find out? You going to handle it for me? She says, I'll take care of it for you. That's all I needed. Now I go forward. But see, I know it's going to come otherwise, right? And you guys got to see it coming too. Don't just sell $4,800 unless you know that this is solid. Put the failure out there first to see if somebody's going to make it better for you, right? People buy from people that they like and trust. Don't one-up your customer. Always do that thing where you justify or you honor the host when they go through struggles. Because there are many people out there, every call's got a golden moment like this in it. The kids are struggling with ADD. Somebody just, their grandparents are getting old. How would you handle that call? Let's go ahead and practice one. Go ahead and give me one that people are struggling with, and I'll tell you how we do it. Go ahead. One more, we'll just try a couple role player. Pick up the mic and just say one.
My daughter's going through, move. She's an older kid, just kind of hard to relate to her. She's a teenager now,
Hey, that's what you mean, John. It's like tough. You and your daughter are pretty close, though?
Yeah, we're still close. Just there's that, trying to spread her wings type of thing,
Yeah. You know what, John? I can appreciate what you're going through, and I do know one thing for sure, is that your daughter, Carrie, she is so lucky to have a father like you who understands and who's still concerned about it like this. 'Cause so many parents at her age just kind of give up on kids like that, So she's very fortunate to have somebody like you. How's that feel when I say that to you?
Feels good.
Somebody else, give me a different one.
My business is suffering.
Well, that's too bad, Quentin. I'll tell you one thing. You know what? In today's world, this economy, it's very common to see businesses struggling. But I do know one thing, Quentin. You know what that is? That your company is very fortunate, and the people in your company who work for you are very fortunate to have a boss like you, owner like you, who cares enough to be concerned about it. Because a lot of people are just packing it up and going bankrupt. They're not hanging in there like at all. How's that feel?
Good.
Try that one, Tom.
Yeah, my wife just lost her job this week.
Oh, it's terrible, Tom. I mean, wife lost her job. I mean, it's got to be tough on your family, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, you must be going through a lot of tough times here. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tom. You and your wife still getting along, everything like that? You still doing okay? Everything going good? Well, that's great. That's great. Because I'll tell you one thing. You and Carol, you're a special couple, and I know that Carol is very fortunate to have a guy like you who supports like you during this kind of tough time. Because she really needs you right now, and I can see that you're supporting her like this. Must mean a lot to her.
Thank you.
See, it's like always, whatever struggle people are going through, you don't one-up them. Back in the old days, I would have said, yeah, I know my cousin lost his job too. Yeah, my brother, his business sucks too. Oh, you see my teenager, he's way worse than your daughter. My son, he went to jail 3 times. It'd be like, whatever you're doing is always worse. You know what I'm saying there? It's always, whatever kind of thing you got to tell me, my one-upping is worse. So, people buy from people that they like and trust. Don't one-up your customer.